According to the Gallup poll, 42% of voters identified as independent a year ago in 2017. That is up from 39% in 2016, making it the largest post-presidential election jump in 3 decades. So what are these independent voters looking for in the midterm? Let's talk to this independent panel we have assembled. Michael Wilner, screen left, is the director of the Serve America movement. Kathy Stewart is the vice president for national development at Independent Voting. John Opdycke is the president of Open Primaries. And Aaron Comey is the chairman of the Manhattan Libertarian Party. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right, Aaron, let's start with you. What's the number one thing that you are concerned about regarding the midterms?
Solutions. I'm somebody whose candidates are offering actual solutions. And, you know, that's why I just look at someplace like New York, where you've got this race going on, and a lot of candidates are just bickering back and forth, the R&D about, well, I'm not him. But I like that in New York for governor, we have Larry Sharpe, who's actually offering actual solutions. He's a businessman, and he's got ideas that are revolutionary.
Okay. Kathy, what about you? What is the one thing you're looking at as you watch the two parties go back and forth? Because the country is really polarized. You got wingers on both sides, and then we've got you.
Exactly. So I think there's sort of two levels at which I think about this. I think independent voters are looking for candidates that can get the job done, that can work on policy first, put their party aside. But I think there's another level to understanding who independents are, is that we're voters who are saying we want to be free from the political parties. We think part of the problem is the political parties. We just did a national survey of 5,000 independent voters all across the country, and the number one reason they gave for being independent is that they think that the two political parties have failed the country. They put their own interests first instead of the interests of the American people. So I think when we go to vote, we're looking for candidates that can do the right job.
All right. John?
I think independents are looking for candidates, whether they are independents, Democrats, or Republicans, who are willing to go up against the establishment, not just in Washington, but in their own party. That's something that independents are very attuned to, is candidates who are willing not just to attack the other side. Right. That's easy, everybody can do that. But to go up against the orthodoxy and the hierarchy in their own party and say they're going to put the country first.
Give me an example of somebody who's doing that.
I think Ro Khanna, he's a congressman from California. He is
Democrat or Republican?
He's a Democrat. He's very progressive. He's very left on many issues. But he's willing to challenge party orthodoxy on election reform, on a whole set of issues that don't conform with the Democratic Party talking points. And I think independents respect that.
All right. Michael, you know, right now we just saw from Tom Bevan and Brian's reporting on the very latest polls, it looks like in the super competitive races, the Democrats' advantage, the so-called generic ballot, has evaporated. They're in a dead heat. So what happens 2 weeks and 1 day from today?
I think voters have to go to the polls and decide who the better candidate is, regardless of the party label. And another example of a party member who is running as a new party candidate is right here in New York, in the governorship race with Stephanie Miner, the former mayor of Syracuse, who is a registered Democrat, running on a fusion ticket with Michael Volpe, who's a registered Republican, mayor of Pelham, New York. And they've learned to sit down together and talk about the issues and figure out the way forward where they can both bring their political views to the table and come up with solutions for the country.
See, you're all mentioning names that a lot of people out there watching right now have not heard yet because they're not part of the mainstream big parties. Take a look at this poll. How independents fall politically. 46% lean Democrat, 32% lean Republican, and 22% are pure independent. One of the big stories right now is this migrant caravan that is heading toward the United States. Right now it's north of apparently 7,000 people strong. Just curious, Michael, let's start with you. How big a problem is that the United States has uneven immigration laws?
I think uneven immigration laws are a problem for any country. And I think our immigration laws need to be modernized and updated. But this country is founded on immigration, and all of us come from immigrants.
Sure. So what should the United States do if those 7,000 people, by the time it gets here, it could be 10,000, it could be 20,000. What should the United States do about those people?
This is the mightiest country on the planet. I think we can handle a caravan of people unarmed coming to this country.
So let them in.
And, well, I'm saying to process them properly.
Right. Okay, Kathy, real quick.
Real quick, I think that the immigration crisis that we're seeing is a result of the failure of the two Democratic parties to actually engage the issue. Instead, they use it like a partisan football.
Sure.
But I have to challenge the idea that independents are leaners. I think that no political party owns independent voters. The leaner question tries to put us back in the box, the very box that we jumped out of.
You don't like that. John, real quick on the immigration.
There's a humanitarian crisis taking place in Central America, and yet this issue gets turned into a complete political football. There's very little honest discussion about what's actually happening. It gets turned into talking points.
And Aaron.
Yeah, treating this as an invasion is a bad idea, and it's going to end horribly if it is treated such as that way. So I think people have to realize, these are human beings coming here, and there needs to be a real solution offered in dealing with it.
Sure, but the backdrop is the midterms, and so it all becomes political. Let's see what happens. Great discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you.